Zlurpcast!
KwikHitz Volume 9, I think. Whatever the thing says below this is more accurate. It's not 100%.
It won't say anything.
We'll say there's no more titles on YouTube. Listen, I'm happy they got rid of the thumbs down, but we still have titles, I'm pretty sure. But a lot could change, Mike. Good point.
KwikHitz.mov will be the title.
Yeah.
So we're going to cover 4 different things as literally a quick hit on each one. You know Zlurpcast. We got Zlurpcast.net. You can buy stuff. You can buy a poster or a little mini art thing if you can see that over there. You can get stickers and shirts and whatever. And then, of course, follow at Zlurpcast on all your social mediums, and we're on Discord and all that. Who wants to go first?
I'll start.
Okay.
So because I couldn't think of anything better to do, I picked up the volume 2 of the Batman by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo omnibus. I'm only halfway through, but it got through the first 2 story arcs. The first one was great. It had Court of Owls in it. And this one, all the art is great. It mixes in some of the early George Tinian IV, my favorite gay comic book writer.
James, right?
Right, James Tinian IV.
Yeah. George is, I was gonna say his father, but that would be the third.
Right.
You have to have all the same names to be in the sequence, right? Middle name, same.
Middle name's got to be.
It starts out with a great Joker story, as most of the great Batman omnis do. And of course, they both die in the end. Spoilers, but did they?
No.
And then it goes into a series. So Batman is quote unquote dead, and Commissioner Gordon becomes Batman.
Yeah.
One of the things he had to do is quit smoking, which bummed him out greatly. And he shaved his mustache, and he looked so weird, and he got in shape. And they gave him a super heavy mecha armored Batman suit, and he's not quite as good as Batman, but still pretty good. So, and it was fighting Mr. Bloom, a new villain who I think might be premiered here.
I like when they make Jim Gordon like tough.
Yeah.
And, because you never know we can, but it's, you know, it's nice. I read one once where he had like huge fucking arms and everything, and it was like, we're gonna take some freedoms with this character.
The art for him in this one is good because he's got that wiry strength. He's not like buff and bulk. He's more like ripped cord muscles.
How strong was Alfred in this one?
He was sad because Batman died, but then came back. Like he basically got crushed in a cave under Gotham, but in that cave was the predecessor to the Lazarus pits. So it rebuilt his brain, but he doesn't have any memory of his parents dying and becoming Batman. So he's happier. So Pennyworth's happy that he's happy. But because he never had that trauma to go through, he never became Batman.
So what is he, like a computer programmer or something?
He helps out at some shelter for kids in the Narrows. And
so he actually uses his money for the benefit of society.
Right.
Well, and some tax breaks too.
Right.
And he bought producing villains.
And he bought 9% of Twitter.
Oh, wait, what did you say, Xtreme? He's creating villains?
He's not creating villains anymore because he's not Batman.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Batman is a net negative for Gotham. Everyone knows that.
Oh, yeah, everyone should know that.
How do you know what he's teaching his kids, though?
Well, it's funny because they're like, you don't have any memory of all this badassness, but you just know how to fix shit. Like the air conditioner was broken. I'm like, these kids aren't too hard off if they have air conditioning.
Is he helping like underprivileged kids too? So like,
but not like adopting them and forcing them to become superheroes.
Becoming vigilantes,
really helping them.
Well, I'm just saying, it could be like, listen, you weren't born with everything. You got to.
But he hooks up with his girlfriend from his childhood or whatever, and she's got a tramp stamp, which I found was classy.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
But it kind of ends with him like sort of, maybe I should be Batman. It's like, no, let Jim Gordon be Batman.
Yeah.
But the problem is Jim Gordon is like working within the system, which only took 2 issues of a comic to say, fuck this, I got to go kill this bad guy.
Do you still get the same paycheck in the system?
I think he goes up to pay grade.
Okay, I was wondering. Yeah,
But that's what I never got. The commissioner of a city the size of Gotham should be pulling down mid six figures. But he always seems like he's living a poor person's life.
He lives beneath his means.
Yeah.
That's the kind of man he is.
Maybe he's giving his wealth to the underprivileged and doesn't like to talk about it.
He's not.
He's buying,
he's buying cigarettes and booze and
maybe
therapy for his daughter.
But I always like I forget his name, but he's always the kind of his pseudo partner, but not the fat guy.
Bullock, Harvey Bullock.
He's my favorite. He's my favorite Batman character.
Why did they go with another Harvey when they created that character?
I don't know.
Why can't we have another name? Why do you have to have
same reason Batman and Superman have Martha for their mother? It's just a classic name.
Why did you say that name?
You had other names in the fucking 30s, like there were.
Yeah, Eunice and.
Yeah, Eunice would be awesome.
But yeah, anyway, the best I found, the new site I go to is what's it called?
In stock trades.
Cheap graphic novels.
In stock trades.
In stock trades. They ship faster than cheap graphic novels, and while not consistently as good priced, they do sales a lot. So keep an eye out.
But they focus more on the stuff that just came out. They don't have like a big backlog.
Yeah, I read that X Factor by Peter David. Is it Peter David? Yeah.
Nice.
Like $30.
Hardcover?
Yeah, the Omni.
Oh, actual Omni.
Yeah, normally $130.
$30 Omni? Nice.
Which issues were how long ago was that?
It's 90s.
90s, yeah. I saw lots of pouches.
Simonson and
it's one that recently came out that I heard is really good. I don't know. For $30, I didn't even bother looking.
I was gonna say, yeah. $30 for Peter David, that's probably worth it.
But the price is like even like the last Star Wars omnibus, the Darth Vader one, was a thin one. It was $100. So I'm done paying cover.
Biran, that's your right as a poor.
That's right.
I don't understand how anyone pays retail for Omnis. I mean, I understand the value, but it's a big number.
Well, I also want to know, like, it's hard to find them at retail. Like wherever you
you have to have a comic stop that goes it. Like the one I go to in Gray's Lake is heavy into the Omnis. They get all the new releases.
But they actually sell Omnis for cover price though?
Yeah, but I only buy them on like special sales where they usually when they're on sale, they go to 30% off.
My store sells them at retail as well, which I find hard to believe because so many people know to buy them online.
Well, so my store will do that thing where, I mean, Omni's trades, it's for them, it's in the trade room, and essentially in there it's buy 3 get 1 free, whatever your cheapest one. So if you ended up getting, 4 $80 Omnis, one of them is free.
I miss when they were $80 Omnis. They now seem to start at 100, no matter how thick.
100 to 125 is now.
And 125 isn't bad for some of those giant ones. Seems like a fair price, but they've gone up.
Yeah.
All right, Biran, anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Who's next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
So Biran was talking about Peter David. The Hulk Volume 1 Omni finally came out. So I've been reading it with some McFarlane art, which I wish he would have just stuck to the covers, really. But yeah, so I don't know, 150 pages or so into it, which I know this volume probably isn't the best example of Peter David's Hulk because he's kind of tying up all the stuff that came before him and starting his thing, but it's been really good so far. Glad it finally arrived. It got pushed back like 5 times before.
And you had the later version, right?
It's a reprint, yeah.
You have volumes 2 and 3 as well already, right?
Yep. Yeah. So for the next.
So you were just staring at them, holding off on reading them.
Yeah. So for the next few months, I'll be reading Hulk.
Okay. No more quick hits on Hulk then, because you've done that already.
It'll be done. 3 giant volumes of Peter David Hulk, and then I'll be done with Hulk for a while.
Okay. And you got that from Cheap Graphic Novels, right?
I did. Yep.
I've been just finding every time I look for something, it's not there, so I've kind of given up on them.
They're good on the when there's new stuff like pre-orders for like stuff coming out later in the year. They're really good about sending you an email
Yeah,
when something comes.
mine's
in.
been more of a just, I heard something cool about it. I want to find it. And 90% of the time, it's not going to be there. So,
Yeah.
All right. Mike, do you want to go? Or do you want me to go?
I'll go.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to do a miniature game. It's called Clash of Spears. It's a historical game. So it's a little crunchier than your average fantasy game. And what I like about it is one of the things that always kind of like bothered, I don't say bothered me, but like when you're playing like Warhammer Fantasy, the old version, it's like you got a dwarf warrior and you're like, you can give him heavy armor for a point and then a shield for another point. And you're like, why the fuck wouldn't I do that? You know, you always go two-handed weapons if you can, extra armor, extra shield.
Musician and banner, and banner.
Exactly, all that shit. Now this game, because it's historical, it's a little more realistic, and it has a lot of, you've got like, you know, your classic wounds and all of that, but there's also a fatigue statistic. And the more heavily armored you are, the more fatigue you're going to get, and the fatigue affects your morale. So it really makes you think
you may not want it anymore.
You know, the skirmish guys aren't just these kind of chaff at the front that just, you know, do some shit and die. They're actually really valuable. And the light, you know, the guys with just, you know, basically shirts and a shield actually have value, as well as the guys with the heavy armor and the shields and all that. So it's a decent game. And again, it kind of scratches that historical itch, and it's got a little bit more realism, you know, and there's, you know, there's command points and all that. And there's reactions too. So each time you activate a unit, you have up to 3 activations, but that gives you more fatigue. So you really have to manage, you know, do I want to do this and stop and give my troops a rest, or I want to keep going, press the issue, which may be beneficial, but then they're going to be less likely to be able to resist a counterattack or something like that. So
do you think that style of gameplay lends itself to people afraid to actually do anything, or no?
It can. I mean, sometimes there is a benefit to not doing
cool
anything.
Players, if we're all cool, fine. But I mean, like your typical player, it's like, can't risk it. I'll just stay put.
And
come on.
Well, you know, sometimes that's the smart move, though. You know,
what if we just did that for 20 turns in a row?
Well, you know, a lot of times too, in reality, armies would come up and they would, because they, you know, didn't want to commit to anything, they would just shout insults and whatever and show their buttocks and all of that. But not
and
really
when an
fight.
army clashes, you can't keep that up for very long. You go back.
Yeah,
So,
you constantly are pulling back. And
what you're saying is, when you're playing this game, Clash of Spears, you may want to set aside a few days with a friend of yours.
Exactly.
And we're going to get.
Would this be a game that's played at the Hyatt?
I think so.
Yes, it would be played in a separate room by the Hyatt.
Because you're going to want to set up and then say, we will attack at dusk. And then you literally,
if you're facing east or west when you're going to attack. So yeah,
you literally, well, if I'm playing in a hotel, I lose all sense of direction anyway. We wait.
Yeah.
Guess what? You're going to wait too. We're stuck. What do we do? I mean, 3 days of stalemate.
One of the things I noticed recently watching historical games, I don't know why it always occurred to me, like their boards always have to have the roads on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that like makes it look so much different than a normal wargaming table, like having these felt roads laid out.
Yeah, that's one of the old jokes is in the 40K universe, there are no roads, you know, because there's
Where
never
we're going,
a road in a
we
40K.
don't need roads.
Yeah, I was waiting for Biran to make a obvious Back to the Future thing. Are you saying Xtreme? Why are they fighting on so many roads too?
Yeah, I mean, they never find a field. It's always
Right.
like, oh, there's a little farm, and then there's a bunch of roads that crisscross across the
I
whole
think
board.
about, you know, as a kid, like, all right, we want to have a makeshift football game. We got to find open space. You don't want like, you know, some like electrical transformer right in the middle of the field some kid's going to plow into. So I think when you're looking for a battlefield, wouldn't that be sort of the agreement between the two armies? Let's stay out of the neighborhoods today. You know? Let's do the right thing.
School.
Yeah, right. Yeah, stay away from the schools. Like, no problem. I would think it should be, but it's a weird thing I've noticed where setting up the terrain is almost like telling other gamers in real life, like it's like your own like mark, like this is how we play. There's a
real. We need
there's a-
realism.
yeah, there's a fucking road.
Well, yeah, and that's another thing that this game does well. It's like in most other games, it's like here's rough terrain. It just affects your movement. That's it. This game, it also, like if you're, again, just a guy with a spear and maybe a small shield, you can get across that no problem. But if you're a big, heavy armored guy, you're going to think twice about entering that rough terrain.
You're going to lose a shoe in that mud.
Yeah, exactly. So terrain actually plays a bigger role, especially if you're a heavily armored troop. So,
or a Bane blade parallel parked inside a building.
Exactly. Yeah.
Would you say, Mike, that because of the complexity, like this is probably not a let's just play it one time, you got to get into this one?
A little bit just to get the mechanics down, but it does have the first time you read it, you're like, but then you actually play it, you're like, okay, I get the hang of it. It's actually a very well written rule set. So again, I've played it a couple times once and then watched with Hoagie and Greg Kyson and so
yeah. Mike, do you have like different groups of friends that are like smarter than your current, like this group here?
I wouldn't say smarter, but just different,
like, you know what I mean? Like Biran's in like the blue reading group in school. Like we can't call them dummies.
We're not conventionally attractive.
Right.
Yeah.
Mike will be like, oh, I'm busy this Wednesday. What are you doing? Nothing. He's like, oh, he's going to be at the fucking smart kids table.
Well, it's Hoagie, he's British. So therefore, he's automatically up here.
Automatic. So. He's like basically getting college credit in the honors class.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Are there a good number of armies to choose from?
It takes most of the base game is mostly like the Punic War era. So just before, like after Marathon, but before the Roman Imperialism.
The what?
Yeah.
Are they
Punic Wars? So
using...
Carthage is still a thing. I have an Iberian force, which was Spanish. Hoagie was playing the Carthage. Greg had the Gauls, so he's got the naked barbarians. There's some Greeks, in Sicily and all, Magna Graeca and all that. So
obviously,
that era.
Obviously, the Greeks are OP, but what scale is this game? Is it 28?
25 mils, yeah, 28 mils, yeah. So
yeah.
They got a tie-in with Victrix, and they do really good plastic minis. They're on square bases, which I know may bug some people, but it's because there's different formations as well, and sometimes you got to lock your shields together, like Greeks and Romans did. So square bases help with that. So
I think where it's appropriate, there's nothing wrong with square base, especially in that instance. There's a gameplay aspect to like I was thinking about we were rebasing things for Sludge, and they have formations. Like, well, then why are you encouraging circle bases then?
Yeah.
I know they look better, but if you're trying to do formations, I would think you'd want to do square.
It's like with Blood Bowl, square bases really help your prone guy and stun guy stay stunned and prone, but it just looks weird.
It's very much a like if you've never played Blood Bowl in your life, you'd be like, why aren't they in square base?
Exactly. You play on a square grid.
You're like, did you just get here?
We like, all right, this guy's stunned, and then he rolls over. Oh, I guess he wasn't stunned. He was just not.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a pizza. It comes in a square box as a circle, and we cut it into triangles.
Yes.
Like, sure.
That makes total sense. Unless you're on the south side of Chicago, then you cut in square too.
It's got to be square, pub style.
Pub style, yeah. Pub style.
Oval team. That's a Seinfeld bit. Whatever.
Be sure to drink your oval team.
Yeah, it's a fucking commercial. Should have said in there. All right. Anything else, Mike? That was like a cool game. Is it how many models roughly? Is it like army or?
It's okay. You got skirmish and you got army. It's like in the middle. Okay. So 40.
Yeah.
So it's too big for a skirmish, really, but too small for an army. So it's kind of that midline. What
kind of vehicles you got?
Chariots.
Do you actually have chariots?
The Carthage has elephants and the Gauls have chariots.
Okay.
Spanish have nothing.
Plastic models?
Plastic, yeah. Although if you want metal, old glory shit.
This would be Clash of Bent Spears.
Yes. or they got the metal ones that are like super sharp. And
I got it some. I think they were not war. I think it might have been warlord, like at like knights, and they have the halberds that are all like fucked up. Like they were bent. I don't know how to explain it. They were bent before they even got bent, if that makes sense. Like where their hands hold it,
yeah,
and then it like goes to the part where their hands don't hold it, it's already off.
yeah,
And I'm like, how do you even make that right? Because it's like fucked forever. And I'm once again metal.
I forget what what company it was, but someone sent like brass spears with some models I got, and I was just bleeding all over the place. It's like, this is ridiculous.
For Kings of War, I've got a pike unit that has 36 guys with metal pikes that are literally this long. And it's like, you have to be so careful picking them up because they're sharp as hell.
I like that.
Jammed under my fingernails before.
I like that. They want you to realize like
how dangerous,
how sharp these are.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, if it's like, I got cut setting them up as the general, if you will.
Yeah.
And now on the battlefield, there's a level of respect that unit has. With them. Like they've caused blood in different fucking dimensions right now. You know what I mean?
I've got like some of them still. I left the blood on the
or do you, when you move them, it's like,
well, you know, when I move it, the spears are facing towards you, so that's fine. But
true.
You know,
it's like, oh, my unit bounces back. Go put your fucking hands in there. Go ahead.
Yeah, please do so.
It's like, yeah, man, that's rough. All right, cool. Anything else, Mike?
Nope, that's it.
All right. My quick hit is an old game I used to love called Let's Kill that I rebought. Paul E. Wright said, remember that game? I go, yeah, where the fuck is mine? And so I bought it from Atlas Games website. It is a very lesser known party game that involves killing. People talk about, let's play Lunch Money. Yeah, but Let's Kill, though, actually involves killing people, not just beating up on the playground. And what I always loved, this game's probably 20 or so years old, 25 years old. Basically in this game, as a player, we are all serial killers and we are killing different people. But you don't just want to kill people just to kill people. I mean, sure you can. For example, Doris, it's all like stick figures. So Doris, the religious solicitor, she's only worth 1 point down there. I think they call it funness. Essentially, it's like what they're worth, though. 20 points is to win. Whereas when you kill the telemarketer, he's worth 2. And there's a lot of different cards in there. There's Aaron, the game designer, which I think is the designer of this game. There's Eileen, the goth chick. There's Frederick, the alderman. Gramps, the gassy old guy. This one's one of my favorites. You put your picture of your boss in there. And so that's great and all, but how you kill them, being the most efficient killer, is key. For example, when you're killing people, I believe, this is just going back to memory here, you have locations. If they're just anywhere, they're just kind of like in the, I don't know, just out in the town, but then there's locations you could put people in. For example, when you put somebody in your basement, you get to kill them and no one else does, but it's only one at a time. You know, so once you kill them, get rid of them, put somebody else in the basement, kill them. But adding things in there, for example, like a convenience store, there's a bunch of people and they're all there. So a lot of times, if you've got something, machine gun, Uzi, whatever, kill many people at once in one location, you're going to kill a lot. You also have, when it comes to weapons, sure, they have, just straight up weapons, chainsaws, bazookas, but think about that, cheese grater. The drawings are awesome too. But then you drive like a bread truck over them. And then you can kill more than one at once. So now you got 3 people in the alley. You take a fucking ice cream truck, you run them all over, you get all of them. Then on top of that, you add in event cards. For example, oh my God, that murder made it into the weekly Times, +2 on the total. It becomes what's called an incident. So like the victim and the event together, whatever total points that is how many you get towards your total number to win. And basically events add to that total. One of the coolest things about the game are the surprises. And this would be, you play a surprise from your hand, you put it face down underneath a victim. and you know what it. Well, hopefully you remember. I remember back in the day, like I would forget, like, oh fuck, what the fuck was that card now? But the idea is, you just killed, the telemarketer. Guess what? He's actually an NRA member. He's going to kill you. And so there's a surprise underneath. For example, you just killed that nice little teacher. Well, apparently that was God you just killed. And sorry. And so there are surprises that then really change things a bit. I believe they have the president in here worth a lot of points. And so when you play a surprise, they have a little smiley face or frown face. So like a good surprise or a bad one will tell you that. So for example, when you put a surprise in there, it's like you're telling your opponent, I don't know, like if you see me go after them, it's probably a good kill. But if I'm avoiding it, you're probably somebody you want to avoid as well.
Is there a Eat My AIDS card in it?
There's no Eat My AIDS. There's no actual, I don't believe they have any type of deadly diseases. Needs to be updated for 2022 in the game. It is mostly weapons and or vehicles. The last thing I want to say is there are what's called shootouts. When more than one of us show up at a location, we can start a shootout and you basically discard your gun cards to try to win that shootout and kill everybody. But it's a way for us to stop somebody. Like, hey, someone's about to win the game. Let's go after them and not let them get any more kills and start a shootout where they're at. Great party game. It is 30 minutes, 3 to 5 plus player. Why is it 3 to 5 plus? Just say 3 plus, right?
Because you don't want 6.
Well, that's in there. That's 30-minute great party game. I think if you've got like a fun crew, like a Friday before Zlurpee Bowl 26, for example, great game for that. Xtreme, did we play this before Zlurpee Bowl once?
I don't know if it's a Zlurpee Bowl. I've definitely played it before.
Yeah.
I don't know where it was at though.
There were some, I remember there's one card in here. Is this the one? There's one where you drop the card like on a thing and like maybe it's a bomb and whoever it hits, victims, they die. Oh, here it is. A meteor strike. It was something. And so this one, can you read that?
Has anyone ever done the Chaos Orb trick where they tear it up into 1,000 pieces and drop it?
You should, and it hits everybody.
Yeah.
Well, there's a gloss coating on it. By the way, my original version did not have this coating. I don't know if I could even tear these.
No.
It reminded me of Grant at that Blood Bowl tournament tearing up a Canadian bill in front of us. I was like, why did you do that?
Because it's worthless.
Worthless. Yeah.
Well, they're supposed to be indestructible. That's what he was trying to prove. That.
But he ripped it.
Yeah, they failed in the design.
Grant, if you're watching
They
this,
had like that plastic coating they started putting on them.
tell us in the comments, Grant, why you did that. So
If
yeah.
you burn a Canadian dollar, does it give off toxic fumes?
Probably.
All right. Good to know.
I
But
mean,
if
it
you
would
use it to burn a Canadian, it doesn't.
it would cause emotional scarring as well, I would say. Drop this card onto the table from as high as you can to reach any victim it touches. Try again if you don't hit any. I like that. You get a second crack at a meteor strike. Anyway, great game, $20, atlasgames.com. A bloody little game of stick figure mayhem. And the guy who made the game is a victim in the game. You can kill him if you don't like the game. I'll have to bring that sometime. Maybe I'll bring it to our gathering. Even though I'm sure there's already, other things planned. We're going to wrap this up because we got a caller. You're on the air.
It's Megan.
See you guys. Yeah. Everybody say bye.
Megan and Liberty are here, so yeah.
All right. Bye for now. Biran, do you have to cut this?
No.
Zlurpcast! Brought to you by Nuffles. Bet you can't just roll a one.